Hello and welcome back to the Little Craft House. Today I thought we would just get stuck straight into things, so whilst I am conditioning up this polymer clay here, I thought I would tell you a little bit about the project that we're going to be doing today. So last weekend I was playing around with some scrap clay and I was just trying to come up with something a little bit different. So I ended up creating a little slab that looked like the clay had been sort of brushed on, so a bit of a brushstroke pattern. And I thought that today I would explore this idea a little bit more, and then I thought, well, why not bring you guys along with me as I do this? Now, I will put in a little disclaimer here that it didn't turn out exactly as I planned and exactly like the little prototype I did on the weekend, but I still really like the results that I get with this little pattern today. So I hope that it can still inspire you guys for your creating as well. So each of the polymer clays that I'm using today are again just scrap ones, just little bits of odd bits that I had sitting around on my desk, as they do tend to accumulate a lot and I don't like to waste the clay at all, so I just need to use them up for as many different projects as I can. So all of these clays will be either Sculpey Primo or Sculpey Souffle. I don't think I have any of the other brands within these ones today. Okay, so to start things off, I have now got all of these clays nicely conditioned and I'm just going to roll them all up into sort of chunkier pieces. So just giving them a bit of a squeeze and a bit of a fold, and then I'm going to grab my knife and chop them all up into small pieces. So I'm just going to keep gathering them together and just chopping them up, just creating as many small tiny little pieces as I can. And each time that I go back in with the knife, I am just going to try and mix it up a little bit because I don't want there to be areas of, or too much of one colour in each area. Now, throughout this little tutorial, at least the first half of the tutorial, you may hear a slight ticking noise, which is my oven on in the background. So hopefully it's not too obvious, and hopefully my chopping noises and my talking will kind of drown the little clicking noise out, because I know that it can be a little bit annoying. I've kind of tuned that noise out myself, so I didn't actually notice whilst I was filming that it was going on. So I do apologise. So thanks to the speeding up function on my editing software here, my clay is all now nicely chopped up into lots of little tiny pieces. So our next job is to put it all back together again. We're going to make it into, or smush it all back together and get it all back into like a bit of a log shape. So the idea here will be just to get it all squished back together. I don't want any little air gaps within it. So using my strength, I'm squeezing this, pushing it together, squeezing it. I did make sure my hands were clean first, because if your hands are not clean when you do this, you will transfer any dirt that is on your hands. So I'm going to also use my acrylic roller here to roll it out, just roll slightly on each of the edges, which is going to also help to apply some pressure and squeeze any of those gaps away. Now, usually I will use my acrylic plate, but today I opted for the roller. Once I am happy with how that is looking, we can then start to slice it up. No, we're not going to slice it up. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to roll it out a little bit thinner to start with. So from that log shape, we're just going to roll it down probably about half of the size, so it's a bit chunky still. And I have some of the ivory coloured polymer clay here. This is actually scrap and it's in the exact perfect size that I need it, so that was very handy. And I'm just going to give that a roll again. So I want this ivory colour to be quite a thin layer on the top here. So I'm now chopping that in half, and I'm just going to layer those two pieces on top of each other. So it's got a layer of the ivory, a layer of the multicolour, the ivory, and then the multicolour again. And then giving it another roll, this will stretch out that ivory as well, making it just slightly thinner again. So giving it a squeeze together. Looks like a little sandwich. And I'm just going to give it another roll just for good luck. And now we can slice. So there is my first little slice there. So it's kind of a bit of a stripe look to it. And I'm just going to do a few here, probably 6 or so, and I'm just trying to do them as thin as I can. And I'll pop the rest aside for afterwards. That first piece I cut off was a bit chunky, so I'm just going to try and get that in half. That's better. And I'll just move them slightly to the side there. I'm going to grab out some more of my ivory. I decided to go with ivory instead of white because the ivory is a more warmer colour, and I think the warmth goes nicely with these oranges that are in the rest of the project. I think the white would have been too bright and too much of a contrast, so the ivory actually just tones in really nicely. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a condition. I didn't cut enough, so I'm going to add a little bit more. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of a condition up and pop it through the pasta machine on a thinner setting to what I would normally use. So I probably only wanted about 2mm thick today. So yeah, I'll pop it through the machine on that just so that it's a nice even sheet of clay. Right, there we go. So that was much easier than hand rolling. And I'm just going to cut off all these tatty edges from around the side. And of course, I'll pop those scraps to the side because I can use them another time. Right, so it doesn't actually matter that this isn't a perfect shape because it is just using up these scrappy bits, and I'll be able to still cut a couple of pairs of earrings out of it. So what I'm going to do now is layer on each of these pieces. I'm going to kind of make them in brushstroke patterns. So if I was to paint on it, I'd probably be doing these curvy shapes, some little lines, some little dashes. Yeah, just quite flowy. So I want the polymer clay to imitate those brushstroke movements. Now, the thinner your pieces are, the more movement you'll be able to have in them. If you've cut them too thick, you may find that they crack in half. But if they crack, that's not an issue because you can just use the smaller pieces. And I also like the uneven edges from the side of where we cut. So yeah, they just kind of, because when you're painting, your brush strokes aren't a dead straight even piece. So I'm making sure that all the rough edges are visible there as well. So this is how it is looking so far. And because those pieces are just placed down, I would be able to move them if I needed to, but I'm quite happy with their positioning. So now we're going to make them permanently in that spot. I've just popped a piece of baking paper on the top, and then I'm using my roller to squish down those brushstroke pieces, making this whole piece nice and level and even. So it has squished that top clay a little bit. Again, the thinner that those slices are, the less that they're going to squish. So when you cut those slices, you really do want them to be as thin as possible. Otherwise, you might find some of these patterns crash a little bit if they squish out too much. There we go. So that's looking really good. I'm actually really happy with how this is looking here. So it's just like I've loaded my brush with lots of different colours and then just painted it on. So I'm just going to neaten up around those edges here just so it doesn't distract me as I cut my earring components out. And as you guys know, I always struggle on what shapes to use, but today I've just decided to opt with a really simple circle. So I think this one's about a 30mm, 3cm circle. I liked this size because it was enough to fit enough of that effect onto it. If I went too much smaller, I don't think it would have the same effect. So yeah, I went with a circle and I also went with a round edge triangle. I really like this shape. And lucky for me, the size of this slab was just perfect because I was able to get both of those pairs nicely cut out. And then I really wanted to use this other little topper, but unfortunately there wasn't enough room for that. I think I'm about to pick it up here. Yeah, this one. I really wanted to use that shape because I like that one matched with that circle, but there just wasn't enough space to get two of those cut. So I just opted for the little circle cutter here. So I'm just trying to, I'm zooming all over the place. I'm just trying to find a section where I can get a little bit of the paint color and a little bit of the ivory. So it's not too much going on in that one circle. And I do cut a few extras as well because I'll just use them for little studs. So I'm actually really happy with the way that they turned out. I like that there's the pattern visible, but also that ivory in between just to break it up so it's not too much going on. So I'm using my flexi knife here to slightly bend and scrape underneath each of the pieces to release them from the tile. So I'll pop all of those bits to the side there and I will grab my baking tray. There we go. I'm going to pop them on and then we're going to pop them into the oven to get cured up. So we usually do about 45 minutes, check them, and if they need longer, I'll do longer, but otherwise they will be good to go. And I'll be back in a minute to assemble these with you. Okay, so fresh out the oven and we are going to drill the holes. So I've got my Dremel drill here and I tried my hardest to show you guys what I'm doing here. Unfortunately, my arm is pretty much blocking the view the whole time. I'm actually holding it really strangely because I thought that that was actually going to show you guys what I'm doing. I thought it was going to not block, but it's blocking the camera. Anyway, just using the drill bit to drill those holes. I like to drill after it's baked. I find that the holes are cleaner and neater and more precise than doing it whilst the clay's raw. But obviously, if you have a preference to do in raw, go right ahead. I always used to do it whilst it was raw, but I switched to the drill and I do find that that's a lot easier. So there we go, nicely done. And then also using the drill, I like to add a buffing attachment. And the buffing attachment I use for sanding. So it's nice and soft and it doesn't tear into the clay like it would if I was putting a sanding attachment on. So I'm just showing here, just attaching it in. It's like a little soft felt pad. If I don't use this for sanding, I will just use a really fine grit sandpaper. If you caught my tutorial from last week, which was a beginner's guide to polymer clay earrings, I demonstrated the sandpaper in that tutorial. So I thought today I would go back to the buffing tool and use that. Now, I don't know if you can sort of see here, as I'm going around, it's just taking off any of that extra clay that has been dragged down. So those, because we sat the colour on the top of the clay, on the top of the base rather, I did roll it in slightly, so it's gone in about halfway, and then the bottom of the clay is just the ivory colour. So I'm just taking off any extra clay there so that that way it's nice and smooth and it has a nicer finish around the edges. All right, I recorded this bit zoomed in, so it's a little bit easier to see. And you'll also notice that my pieces aren't quite even today. I didn't use a guide when I was rolling out my clay, so they're a little bit uneven. One side is slightly thinner than the other, but it's not too noticeable, so it's okay. Now, I think you can see there how the difference that it makes once I have sanded around. it is now time to assemble the pieces, and as usual I changed my mind because I found these cute little wooden toppers in my stash. So originally they were going to be used for another project, but I thought they actually looked really good with the colours that are in these pieces. So I decided to not worry about those studs that I cut, and I'm just going to put earring backs on those and they can just be little studs rather than toppers, and I'm just going to use these wooden ones instead. So I'm getting my jump rings here. Like usual, I like to use 8mm jump rings. Obviously, if you're assembling your pieces, have a look and see the gap between the top of your piece and the hole, and then you can work out from there the size of jump ring that you need. So generally 8mm is fine for me. I find 10mm can be a little bit too big and 6mm is a little bit too small. So yeah, I generally go with 8mm. This piece here, however, because I mentioned before my pieces weren't exactly even, I've drilled in the thicker bit. So it was a little bit tight getting this jump ring through, but it was just okay. So I'm glad I didn't have to change it to the 10mm because I think 10mm would have looked way too big on the other earring piece. So I'm just joining them together, or rather closing them back up. There we go, and those ones are done. And then with these triangular ones, needing to get some more jump rings out here. I forgot that I needed extra. So I'm going to use, I've got some wooden pieces which have the 2 holes in them, and I thought I would use hooks for those ones because I use toppers quite a lot. So I just thought it was time for some hooks. So again, just closing the jump ring. Remember when you're closing the jump ring and opening it, to twist it, not pull it open. It just gives a nicer close to it and doesn't weaken your jump ring. There we go. How cute is that? I really like that shape that makes. I'll just do the final one here. And while I'm finishing up, I'm just going to say thank you for joining me today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this little project. It worked out a little bit different to how I was planning on it going, but I still really like these results. So again, I will continue to play and experiment and come up with different ideas for future tutorials. So if you guys have any suggestions for tutorials you would like to see in the future, please leave the ideas in the comments section and I'll try my hardest to do that. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back again next week with another tutorial. In the meantime, I would love for you to like and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. And if you want to, head over to Facebook and Instagram and follow my pages over there too, as I quite frequently put up mini tutorials over there. So thanks once again for joining me, and I shall see you next time. Bye!